Here on the Jersey Magazine, boy, he's on almost as much as I am lately. It's Dr. Greg Spatz from Resilient Performance Systems in Chatham. Greg, good morning and welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks. Always good to be here.
So it's October, and that must mean we're getting ready for next year's baseball season.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And
And
this
playoff
coming
baseball with the
Tuesday,
MLB. So it'll be fun.
October 11th at the Annex on Passaic Avenue in Chatham, you are holding an open house. Tell our listeners about that, Greg.
Yeah. So this coming Tuesday, a couple days from now, we're hosting an open house here at the Annex in Chatham, 100 Passaic Avenue. We work with so many baseball players in the area and from different areas that have distance programs, remote programs from the Annex trainers. We work with so many baseball players. We want to just sort of share some of the things that we do. And we work together so closely, Resilience as a physical therapy, sports medicine entity, and the Annex as a performance training entity. We work together so closely with so many different athletes. We want to just sort of educate the public and show people what it looks like to be an athlete that kind of gets passed between the two businesses and is getting sort of all the wraparound services under this one roof here. So it's open to anyone. Definitely for anyone who hasn't been to the Annex before or to Resilient. If you want to just learn more, whether you're a parent, coach, another physical therapist, strength and conditioning professional, doesn't really matter. But I think, Jim, you're one of those people that would fit under that umbrella.
And somewhere I could probably find a spot under the umbrella there.
Yeah.
You know what, Greg, and I can't believe how much baseball training has changed, especially in terms of the off season. When I was in high school, I think the 2 weeks before freshman year tryouts were, that was the first time I picked up a glove. And,
Yeah.
you're dealing with all of the issues of that, the rust and what have you. And now if you're not starting, probably, I would think mid-January at the latest, you're not going to really be prepared for that first Friday in March when tryouts happen.
Totally agree. Yeah, like that mid-January time is, if you're playing a winter sport, it's hard to kind of balance the two all winter. But I would agree that like mid to late January has got to be like the minimal start time for a throwing program to get ready for the first week of March, essentially.
So what will be covered at the open house on Tuesday?
So because we do everything under this roof, we're going to cover everything, essentially. We'll just kind of show examples of how we might structure a warm-up, from changing how your hips work, how your trunk works, how your shoulder, your elbow moves, for a baseball player we're talking about here, of course. And what are some things we do on whether it's a physical therapy table, or out on the gym floor from a warm-up perspective, and then take somebody. We're hoping we're going to get one of our local college athletes who's been here for years to kind of run through like this is what it looks like, and bring them through a warm-up, bring them through some sort of agility program or speed program, just show some examples of progressions there, bring them into the weight room, do some strength work, some power work, and then talk a little bit about arm care and more so like more baseball specific things because of the nuances of throwing. And then just kind of throughout the entire time, just kind of answer some questions and talk shop with whoever wants to come.
I know that over the years, you've had a number of professional baseball players at all levels, from the major leagues down to the minor leagues, come in. How much is the off-season training that you guys do? How much has that changed over the years?
So we've been here under this roof in Chatham since 2017. So since then, I mean, there's been pros who have, I wonder if any are still playing from that time, but there's some that have retired since after a long career, some who maybe were just starting. But there's definitely been some kids where it's pretty cool where we'll see a kid start in high school and then they're gone through college and they're coming out on the other end and trying to play pro ball. So that's pretty fun. But it definitely changes overall. Like the big rocks don't change too much. It's more so about mastering the basics, having good fundamentals, doing the ordinary things extraordinarily. That's always kind of like our staple and our slogan is we want to do the simple things really, really well. And then from year to year, we're going to kind of fine tune things from maybe like a dosage standpoint, like how much does this person need versus this person, and try and fit it to the individual themselves, as opposed to just having a shotgun approach and blasting it to the entire group. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing, is just a little fine tune things to see, what kind of comes out at the end of the off season for the athlete and how do they feel.
You talk about getting back to the basics, and I can tell you from my own standpoint, as someone who instructs young players in baseball, my approach, like for hitting, for example, basically what I do with a kid now when he comes in, if I've never seen him before, is I put him up on a tee and let me see what you do naturally. And then we're going to go from there rather than start with, well, first your hands need to be here and then you're going to do this and then you're going
Yeah.
to do, let me see what you do. What happens
Yeah.
on your own when you decide I'm ready to swing? Let's see what happens. So that was kind of what I was talking about with regard to, maybe how things have changed over the years. Because again, years ago, it was a cookie cutter thing and maybe that's because I was starting out doing this. But, as you get a little bit more involved, you start looking at, well, he does this well. Let's just kind of build on that and capitalize on it.
Yep.
Dr. Greg Spatz, my guest this morning again here on the Jersey Magazine from Resilient Performance Systems, and along with the Annex in Chatham this Tuesday, an open house for baseball training and injury prevention. It'll be at the Annex on Passaic Avenue in Chatham, starting at about 7:30. Now, who's the ideal person that you think should attend this, Greg?
I would probably say, I would say there's two. I would say it'd be a parent who isn't really sure where to start. The good thing is because we've been doing this for so long and we work together with each other so well, you can kind of come to one place and get everything you need in a way. So it's a good way to kind of cover your bases because parents these days are Uber drivers just driving their kids all over the place from place to place. And when you have more than one kid, I don't know how you're even doing it. So I'd always say parent of a kid who's just not sure where to start. They want to get their kid into some sort of training situation, or if they need some sort of physical therapy, just kind of come and learn and see what we're doing here. Because a lot of times also parents kind of have an idea of what things should look like or what they should be doing, but it often doesn't match what is in actuality happening under this roof. And then on the other end of it, it would be baseball coaches. We think connecting with people like you who are coaching the athletes, you're the ones who are dealing with them more, and you're developing the skills, which are number one most important is the skill work. And then for us, it's like, how do we support the skill work by keeping kids durable and making them healthy and getting them to move properly and getting them stronger and more powerful so that they can use their skills that you're developing. So there's definitely a good back and forth that we can have between skill coaches like pitching coaches or hitting coaches or whoever.
As you know, I served as a pitching coach at Jonathan Dayton High School in Springfield this past year. And one of the things, and I've experienced this before with other players, my own son, as a matter of fact, the freshmen, the incoming, freshmen, the first timers on the high school field, it's so important for them to be doing something in January and February to get ready, because you get to the beginning of March and maybe they've been throwing one day a week. And now you're throwing every day. And it is a shock to the system. Like, oh my goodness, does that hurt? So I would
Absolutely.
highly recommend that freshmen do something starting if at January and the latest to make sure that they're ready for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. Yeah. The older you get, the more stressful you are to yourself when you're playing a sport. So it becomes more and more dangerous just because you're bigger and faster and stronger. So easier to hurt yourself. So that means you got more work to do all winter.
And I do want to point out there's a $20 donation for the open house, and the proceeds will be donated to the With Grace initiative to support pediatric cancer patients. Grace is from right here in New Jersey, and it's a wonderful cause. For listeners who want to know more about this, it's easy to find it. It's resilientperformance.com/WDHA. So thank you for
Exactly.
doing that, Greg. That makes it very easy.
Perfect.
Resilientperformance.com/WDHA. It's got all the details coming up. Again, the baseball training and injury prevention open house. It is this Tuesday, 7:30 at the Annex in Chatham on Passaic Avenue. Dr. Greg, thank you very much for your time as always, and we'll talk to you again soon here on the Jersey Magazine.
Thank you. See you soon.